So, when you hear the words artificial intelligence, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Probably something from a sci fi movie, right? Futuristic robots, maybe? But what if I told you AI isn't some far off concept? It's already here, and it's quietly shaping your world in ways you might not even notice. This isn't science fiction anymore, folks. It's our reality, right now. Seriously, just take a second to think about it. The playlist that woke you up this morning, the news articles that showed up on your phone, even the route your navigation app picked for you. AI had a hand in all of it. So the question really isn't if AI is part of your life, but just how deep it's already woven into the fabric of your day. So where is all this AI hiding? Let's pull back the curtain a little bit. You might be surprised to find out it's not in some distant, high-tech lab. Nope, it's right there in the palm of your hand. That social media feed you were just scrolling through, that's AI curating what you see. Asking Siri or Google for the weather? Yep, AI again. Unlocking your phone with just a look? You guessed it, AI. From the stuff Amazon thinks you'll buy to the fastest way to avoid traffic on Google Maps, it's this invisible engine driving a huge chunk of your digital life. Okay, so to really get a handle on the big ethical questions that are coming up, we first need to kind of peek under the hood. How does a piece of software learn to make such complicated decisions? Well, it really all boils down to one thing: learning from data. The main engine driving all of this is something called machine learning, or ML for short. Now, instead of a programmer having to write a specific rule for every single possible scenario, if this happens, do that, they build a system that can figure out the rules for itself just by looking at tons and tons of information. It's a total game changer. And one of the most powerful ways this happens is through something called a neural network. It's a system that's literally inspired by the way our own brains are wired. These networks are incredible at finding complex patterns. For example, that facial recognition feature on your phone, that's a neural network that has learned the unique patterns of your face. Pretty wild, right? So this is the really crucial part. You've got to remember this. Data is the absolute lifeblood of modern AI. To teach a computer what a cat is, you don't describe whiskers and a pointy tail. No, you show it millions of pictures of cats until it just gets it. It learns the pattern. And this complete reliance on data is the key to, well, everything that comes next. And this is where things get a little messy. Because when a technology gets this powerful and this hungry for data, it forces us to ask some really tough questions. You know what they say, with great power comes great responsibility. So here's the first huge hurdle. An AI is only as good and as fair as the data it learns from. So what happens if that fuel we just talked about, that data, is already tainted from the very beginning? Just imagine an AI that's supposed to help companies screen job applications. Sounds great, right? But if you train it on that company's hiring records from the last 30 years, and those records show a clear pattern of hiring men over equally qualified women, the AI isn't going to fix that problem. It's going to learn it. It'll see it as a rule, and it'll keep doing it, baking that discrimination right into the system. It's the classic garbage in, garbage out problem. And this dependence on data leads us right to our next big dilemma. AI needs an absolutely staggering amount of information to work. And a whole lot of that information, well, it's our data. Our pictures, our searches, our private messages, which brings up a massive question about privacy. Every time we use these amazing services, we are feeding the machine, making it smarter. But there's a serious trade-off here. I mean, facial recognition is super convenient for unlocking your phone, but that exact same technology can be used for mass surveillance, tracking people without them ever knowing. It really makes you wonder, who is actually in control of our personal information? So what happens when these systems, which are running on their own, make a mistake? A big one. This throws us into a super tangled web of accountability. When a person makes a critical mistake, we have ways of figuring out who's responsible. But with AI, the lines get really, really blurry. Just think about a self-driving car. If it causes a serious accident, who's at fault? Is it the developer who wrote that one buggy line of code? Is it the owner in the driver's seat who was supposed to be paying attention? Is it the company that marketed the system as autopilot? Can you even hold an algorithm legally responsible for anything? Our entire legal system just wasn't built to answer these questions. Okay, so these are obviously huge, complicated challenges. But this isn't about doom and gloom. The conversation is really starting to shift away from just finding problems and moving toward actively finding solutions. The goal is to build technology that actually helps everyone. So how do we fix that bias problem? Well, it starts with the fuel. We have to be intentional about training AI on data that's diverse and inclusive, that represents the world we want, not just the one we've had. Then we have to constantly check these systems for fairness, audit them. And finally, and this is a big one, we have to demand transparency. We need to be able to see inside these black boxes to understand how they're making decisions. And that same solution-focused mindset applies to all the other challenges. To protect our privacy, we need to support strong data protection laws and demand real transparency from companies. To solve the accountability problem, we have to create new legal frameworks that spell out who's responsible. And to deal with a very real issue of jobs changing, we need to focus on education and reskilling people for a future where humans and AI work side by side. Now, it's really easy to hear all this and feel like these are problems for giant tech companies and governments to solve. But that's just not the whole picture. As the people who actually use this stuff, as consumers and as citizens, we all have a super important role to play in steering this thing toward a future we actually want to live in. So, what can you actually do? Well, first, be a critical thinker. Ask questions about the recommendations you get. Second, vote with your wallet. Support companies that are open about what they're doing and are trying to be ethical. Third, use your voice. Public pressure is an incredibly powerful tool for change. And last but not least, just stay informed and keep learning. Understanding this stuff isn't optional anymore. It's a basic part of being a citizen in the 21st century. At the end of the day, the path that AI takes isn't set in stone. It's a tool, and its impact is going to depend entirely on the choices that all of us make, starting right now. The goal isn't to be afraid of it, it's to guide it. So the real question isn't what AI will do to us, but what we will choose to do with it.